This year's census count has been like no other. First, it was a proposed citizenship question, eventually ruled unconstitutional by the Supreme Court, that could have discouraged participation in this year's census. Then, it was a global pandemic, which cut down on the face-to-face interactions needed to get an accurate count. And now, it's a new presidential directive to leave undocumented immigrants out of the census count for the purpose of redrawing congressional districts, meaning immigrant communities could possibly have their federal representation diluted.
He's trying to erase families, and he's trying to say that human lives don't count if they're not here with papers. The stakes are high. If he were able to accomplish this, it would mean decreasing representation from urban centers across the country.
Since there's no citizenship question on the census, Trump had earlier issued an executive order that would use state records like the DMV to estimate how many undocumented people live in each state. Local and national advocacy groups, including the ACLU, have pledged to challenge the new directive as unconstitutional. Despite this year's barriers to an accurate count, San Diego's participation rate in the census so far is above the 2010 participation rate, with 70% of residents responding. Local groups say they'll keep reassuring communities that their participation in this year's census is vital.
We've also stepped up our efforts to be a voice for the community so that the folks who feel most in danger from the census or participating in the census know that there's a community behind them who's willing to stand up and lock arms around them to make sure that no harm comes their way by participating in the census.
In mid-August, census takers from the federal government will begin visiting residents who have yet to respond to the census. Max Rivlin-Nadler, KPBS News.